Today's episode is brought to you by Manscaped.
Updates, updates, updates. The cycle keeps on spinning and more people are getting caught up in the Chinese crossfire, so hell. We started reporting on this a week ago. Might as well follow it until it eventually fizzles out and people go back to just pretending that in spite of this brief moment of hyper-awareness, American companies will continue to work alongside the Chinese government simply because there is too much money on the table for things to actually change.
At best, we saw companies attempt to distance themselves from the reasons that they'd been criticized for, and at worst, we saw some people decide to just keep doubling down on their support for mainland China in the face of social and humanitarian crises, in addition to more Western entertainers and influencers feeling the economic wrath because of their engagement with social media, no matter how seemingly innocuous their protest of China really was. This is like a new level of slacktivism.
Yeah.
Like over the weekend, 2 entertainers permanently lost their gigs in China for simply liking tweets written by other people. Most notably, EDM producer and DJ Zedd.
Yeah, it's like slacktivism, except there's like punishment for it now.
Yeah, this is actually validating slacktivism.
Yeah, kind of. Damn it, China.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Usually just, saying a tweet like, I support the Hong Kong protests.
We did it.
Be like, you lazy ass, you're not doing shit. But now
there are risks.
Yeah.
There are risks now.
There are financial career risks involved.
So Zedd, whose real name is Anton Zaslavsky,
I like Zedd better.
Yeah, is arguably one of the more popular DJs working today. And because of his popularity, he's frequently paid large amounts of money to perform live in cities and countries around the world at various concerts and festivals. Aside from being musically gifted and very wealthy, Zedd is also just another 30-year-old dude who, like a lot of other people in his age group, he's a fan of South Park. So when he just liked a tweet from the official South Park account celebrating their 300th episode, he probably wouldn't have assumed that doing so would result in him getting banned from China. I mean, all he did was like a tweet, and according to reporting, it wasn't even a tweet about China or the specific episode banned in China that got him banned. He didn't write up a strong condemnation of their actions. He didn't do or say anything on stage publicly denouncing the Chinese government. He just liked a South Park tweet that had an animated GIF of a cake with 300 on it.
Wow. Well, at least we now know definitively that in the eyes of the Chinese government, Ted Cruz was watching that porno clip.
He was.
He was.
Wow.
He liked it.
Well, that's it. Set in stone.
Yep. On 9/11 of all days. But apparently even liking a tweet is enough to piss off China and convince them to completely ban you from their country forever, because that's exactly what happened to Zedd.
Yep.
A few days ago, Zedd tweeted, I just got permanently banned from China because I liked a South Park tweet. And at that point, it seemed like it could have just been a joke, since last week was so filled with ridiculous attempts from both China and US companies to try and shut people up. But he then took to Instagram to elaborate on what happened, saying in a follow-up post, just to clarify, this is not a joke. The government informed our promoters that if they don't cancel my scheduled shows in China, they would pull their cultural permits. And it was also confirmed by CNBC, who reached out to his publicist directly.
Yeah.
I mean, he could still be lying. Maybe he just doesn't want to go.
I don't want to go to China anymore.
The McDonald's there, it's not very good.
I saw the South Park episode. I don't want to get thrown into a prison with poo. Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to meet Winnie the Pooh.
Well, not there.
One of the most beloved childhood characters.
But Zedd isn't the only person who had their business ties severed with China over that damn like button, because over on the NBA side of things, ESPN host and commentator Adrian Wojnarowski has had his show, Woj in the House, canceled. Woj in the House, not a family sitcom as you might expect.
Hey, it's Woj! Woo!
Yeah, woo! He comes walking in,
Yeah.
slam dunk. No, it's not that. It's like it's an NBA news show, but for China. It was produced for the Chinese market in partnership with Tencent. So yeah, it's pretty obvious why they made the decision that they did, but much like the previously mentioned Zedd, Wojnarowski, I think that's how you say his name, it hadn't made some firm, outspoken stance on what has been happening in China. He lost his show at Tencent because he was on the list of people who initially hit that like button on the Fight for Freedom, Stand for Hong Kong tweet that was sent out by Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey before it was subsequently deleted and started this whole fucking mess. That's it. He liked the tweet when it was up, and he lost his show because of it. And that is how ridiculous things have gotten.
It's creating a chilling effect that, moving forward, anyone who accepts business opportunity with China, I'm like, you're a snitch. You're a cop. You're you're a little dweeb. You're doing anything for money. You whore.
It's also impossible for anyone to do anything because of the manufacturing that happens there. And it's hard. It's very hard to, as a person, protest any of this because it's like you could take out your phone and be like,
there's a big difference between, having components in your electronics come from China and directly doing business with China.
Oh, okay.
One of them is just a fact of life in the modern age. The other one is like you have to kind of actively, prioritize your ethics and how they compare to your desire for money.
I'm just sad that the Chinese people will never see our 10-cent branded show.
Well,
Dead on arrival.
That's billions of potential viewers lost to the sands of time forever.
Yeah.
Now, as we said before, we live in a news cycle where it's incredibly hard for the average person to keep up with everything that's going on, whether it's related to issues close to home or news about people pissing off the Chinese government.
There's a lot going on.
Chinese big government, the biggest government of all. Yeah. So as long as people just stop talking about it, or at the very least, didn't publicly side with China, fans could potentially start to forget about this as the NBA season officially gets started. But nope. Fucking LeBron James had to butt in over a week after all this had gone down to let everyone know what he thought about the whole thing. And in doing so, he may have actually tarnished his legacy in the process.
Yeah.
I will say, LeBron James, when the NBA opened up in China like however many years ago, they only cared about LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and Yao Ming.
Yeah.
There's like the big three over there.
Yes.
He has made a fuck ton of money off merchandising in China that, I'm sure that was a big factor in how this played out.
Now, you don't have to be a fan of LeBron James. People, even in Cleveland, they didn't like him for a while because he just ditched them to go win some championships with the Heat. But he did come back, and he won one for them.
And then he came to Los Angeles, and he won a bunch for us too, right?
That's exactly what happened so far, right?
In the correct timeline.
Anyways, it's pretty obvious to anyone, even if you're not a fan of him, he is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He has also donated lots of money to various charitable organizations, and he focuses heavily on working with underprivileged youth in his hometown of Akron, Ohio.
He had a very untarnished, positive image in my eyes for a long time. Thought LeBron James, he's one of the good ones. He cares about others.
Yeah.
Well,
so all of that is why his stance on this China scandal is kind of weird, because he could have just easily said nothing about it and moved on or changed the subject with the interviewer. Like, not the easiest thing to do, but not hard either.
Yeah.
But for some reason, he decided to speak up. And in an interview with reporters on Monday, after spending a week in China for the NBA preseason, he was asked whether or not Morey should be punished for his tweet, and here's what he said.
I don't want to get into a feud with Daryl Morey, but I believe he wasn't educated on the situation at hand when he spoke. And so many people could have been harmed, not only financially, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So just be careful what we tweet and say and we do, even though, yes, we do have freedom of speech, but there can be a lot of negative that comes with that too.
Okay.
So he continued elaborating on why he thought Morey was misinformed, saying, I believe he was either misinformed or not really educated on the situation, and if he was, then so be it. I have no idea, but that is just my belief. Because when you say things or do things, if you're doing it and you know the people that can be affected by it and the families and individuals and everyone that can be affected by it, sometimes things can be changed as well. And also, social media is not always the proper way to go about things as well, but that's just my belief.
So there's a lot to unpack there that doesn't really mesh with the reality of things that are happening in China, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. But the first thing on my mind when I wake up in the morning is the players and their families in the NBA, and whether or not they're going to struggle or have any problems today.
Yeah, I mean, they are the most important people. Mm-hmm. It's just real fucking weird because of anyone involved in the NBA who has. They're not gonna fucking fire players over saying anything about this situation.
And here's the thing,
they're the safest ones here.
LeBron James has been he has been outspoken about other things as well, and it's just different because it's China. Listen, it's just weird. Why even say anything?
Because he makes a lot of money off of it.
Now, keep in mind, he's talking about how someone showing support for protesters who are fighting for their rights against a repressive government shouldn't have done that because could have resulted in people being harmed financially and spiritually. you gotta keep that in mind when you read through his thoughts. He also followed this statement up, despite saying that you should watch what you tweet and really think about it. He followed this statement up with a tweet about how his team and the league have had a difficult week because of all this, okay?
Guys, they're threatening to take away a lot of our money.
And that rightfully pissed a lot of people off because it further drove home the point that maybe LeBron is the one who isn't fully grasping the situation outside of what he's experiencing on a personal level. Then again, LeBron, with this statement, probably just solidified the fact that Space Jam 2, which he's producing and starring in, will get distribution in China.
God damn it.
And that's also in addition to all of the other revenue streams that he has coming directly from that country through merchandise, endorsement deals, and appearances, as we said before.
I'm now, like, I always knew that he was real big in China, but now I'm very curious about, like, the exact breakdown of, like, how much he really gets out of China. Because I'd guess quite a lot based on current events.
I don't know, I forget how long the time span is of it, but I know that he has a $1 billion contract with Nike over the course of a bunch of years, and he has many times gone to China to promote Nike, and they do a lot of business there, obviously.
All right, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Now, on the Blizzard side of things, they seem to have actually been impacted by the negative reaction from American consumers because of the way they handled Blitzchung's interview and the fallout that came after that, because over the past few days, they've been on high-level damage control as they attempt to fix things with the community, the pro players, the organizations, and their own employees. It's a fucking shitstorm down there. Down in Irvine. Late Friday evening, Blizzard released a statement from President J. Allen Brack in which he claimed that the specific views expressed by Blitzchung were not a factor in the decision we made. I want to be clear, our relationships in China had no influence on our decision. Fuck you. Lying piece of shit.
He's also the guy that famously said, you think you want it, but you don't, when people ask for Warcraft Classic. Yeah.
He then went on to talk about how their esports events and broadcasts need to focus on the game itself.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm just here for the games.
Blizzard also made the decision to return the prize money to Blitzchung and reduce the suspension of both him and the two casters who were involved in the interview from a full year to just 6 months. But in gaming years, that's a dead career.
Yeah, I don't know. Do they change Hearthstone all the time like they do with Fortnite?
Well, if you're making money off of playing the game, you kind of need to compete more. He'd probably have a very lucrative Twitch career now after all of this.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And I mean, there's got to be, backroom illegal Hearthstone games going on.
Yeah, all the time.
All over the place. Just like in poker.
Anyways, I guess this is something, but you can bet your ass that no carefully crafted PR response would have even been made if they didn't realize that the outrage that they caused would have really affected their bottom line. Also, it's hard to take the response from their president seriously when it took a week for them to craft this statement and they released it at night on a Friday. And then that's all in spite of the fact that just after that broadcast, the official Blizzard China account tweeted their own statement, which again, right after the broadcast, not a week later.
So and it read the exact same thing.
No,
translated to Chinese, right?
Well, maybe. I guess
For consistency's
lost in
sake.
translation, but this is what their statement was from Blizzard China. We are very angered and disappointed at what happened at the event last weekend and highly object to the expression of personal political beliefs in any of our events. As always, we will defend the pride and dignity of China at all cost. Got real
So
fucking serious there.
the American one is like, it didn't have anything to do with China. Look, it's just, we
want
don't
our
like
players-
that kind of speech.
Yeah, just
Keep it, let's not make these political. Let's focus on the games. And then the same company.
We will fight till the death.
Yeah. What the fuck did you just say about China, you little bitch? I'll have you know.
Yeah. Like I said, lost in translation.
Yeah, Google Translate, it's crazy.
Yeah, you can't trust Google Translate on Chrome. It'll just make everything angry.
Yeah.
They do it on purpose.
They do.
Yeah.
And you can also tell that Blizzard is scrambling a bit internally because all this has gone down just weeks away from their yearly fan convention, BlizzCon, where they're probably safe in assuming that there will be protests or demonstrations, and they probably have no idea how to handle any of it, knowing that China and the free world are watching. There were fucking, boomer senators and congressmen being like, Blizzard, you need to get your shit tight with that Hearthstone game. You need to give that man his money.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. Fucking Ted Cruz, it was great.
Marco Rubio's been in on it.
Give that Hearthstone man his money. BlizzCon was already a disaster last year because the whole Diablo mobile thing. That was just a year ago? Oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
That feels Oh, God. Anyway, it seems even more hilarious in retrospect because the company decided that instead of making a sequel to Diablo, they'd just, put out a game for mobile phones only that was, you guessed it, developed in partnership with a Chinese company called NetEase.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's no telling what will happen at this year's event. I can't wait. It should be a great time.
I am going to anticipate that they are working triple overtime, crunch time as they call it in friendly terms, to shit out any kind of cinematic trailer for a Diablo 4 announcement just to beg for the goodwill of their consumers.
They need something.
Mm-hmm. Also, here's a good example of them not being ready to deal with the public at an event yet. A scheduled event at the official Nintendo store in New York for the release of Overwatch for the Switch was officially canceled.
Oh, weird.
Just days before it was supposed to happen.
Well, again, it's probably not ready.
The event was going to feature giveaways, meet and greets with the voice actors from the game, and more, but in a tweet from the store's official account, they indicated that the launch event had been canceled by Blizzard themselves. So, they obviously didn't directly state that this was because of the backlash that they'd been receiving for the past week, but it lines up with the timing of everything else pretty well. It looks like it's pretty obviously a result of it. So, regardless, they can't cancel BlizzCon.
I don't know.
I mean, that would be wild.
They might make a bomb threat against themselves. Keep your eye out for that.
Elliot called the false flag before anyone else. You remember.
Geez, guys. Terrorists win, I guess. Well, see you next year.
So right now, Blizzard, they'll just have to grab a pint, wait for this all to blow over, and probably when they actually do BlizzCon, run a huge delay on the BlizzCon stream so they can edit any and all production on the fly so they can avoid signs, Hong Kong-made cosplayers, and just people screaming "fuck China" into the camera every chance they get.
Oh my God, yeah, because they probably won't do any sort of Q&A this time, but it was hilarious last time with the Diablo
Is this
thing.
a joke?
Yeah, the Q&A was just a train wreck.
I highly doubt, and if they do...
Yeah, between that and the China thing, probably no Q&As at all.
If they do a Q&A, it's going to be like vetted people who they're like a lot of pressure to say and do everything that they want them to say.
Only Chinese press.
It's like when Bethesda does press conferences and they bring in those people that just scream maniacally at nothing the entire time.
Yeah.
Well, we love you, Todd. Have sex with me, Todd.
Todd, you fine son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm. He looks really good, doesn't he, folks?
That's a man.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a man looks like.
Speaking of men.
Anyways, before we move on, let's take a quick second to thank this week's sponsor, Manscaped. You want to look as good as Todd Howard? Here's the trick. Manscaped is the #1 company in men's below-the-belt grooming. Halloween's right around the corner, and you don't want to spook someone with that scary bush you've got, Jesus Christ, down in that crotch area. You might be Chewbacca, a Bigfoot, or a hairy bear,
Rawr!
But it's what's under the costume that really matters.
Your heart. No, your balls, and they're shaved.
Your bathing suit area. And if you don't want to be a hairy, unkempt guy when the costume comes off, you should check out Manscaped's Perfect Package 2.0.
Inside the Perfect Package, you'll find their electric trimmer called the Lawnmower 2.0. This waterproof and skin-safe technology will protect you from nicking your pumpkins.
Oh.
You can also create less mess by trimming in the shower. And who could forget the Crop Preserver, an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. You already put deodorant on your armpits, right? So why don't you put deodorant on the smelliest part of your body? The Perfect Package 2.0 also comes with anti-chafing performance boxer briefs that keep your package cool and smelling fresh all day. So you get some undies with it too.
It's time to get clean with the Perfect Package 2.0. And for our viewers, Manscaped is giving you 20% off plus free shipping when you head to manscaped.com and enter promo code TODAYDAILY at checkout. Clear the cobwebs with Manscaped by going to manscaped.com and using our promo code TODAYDAILY at checkout now for 20% off plus free shipping. Clean your junk.
Yeah.
Get it trimmed.
And moving on, also over the weekend, the biggest game on the planet decided to ruin the lives of children, parents, and I guess content creators alike by essentially deleting itself.
You know what? Epic is good.
Yeah.
I like Epic.
Good guy Epic. And again, okay, we're talking about Fortnite, and before we get started, as Elliot just pointed out, it's literally inevitable that we're going to talk about companies that have ties to China, whether they're extremely loose or direct connections in the future of the show. It's impossible not to because that's how things are. We didn't get ourselves into this mess, capitalism did, so blame that. We're just saying that, and we're about to laugh with Fortnite, not at them.
And Mr. Sweeney, for,
Yeah.
so far, has had
stance.
one of the best stances on the Hong Kong situation out of anyone.
Yeah, so just keep that in mind going forward. It's inescapable and yeah. Anyways, Fortnite trolled the fuck out of people, and it was kind of great.
I loved this. So at the end of their most recent season, they had a public event, which resulted in the game literally getting sucked into a black hole. Boop, gone. The characters, the map, the UI, everything erased. And that was in addition to their social media accounts going dark and live streams from their official accounts just showing a black hole for hours upon hours. Now, obviously, the game wasn't gone for good, because money.
Yeah.
Came back online Tuesday morning as Fortnite Chapter 2, complete with a brand new map and new abilities like swimming, boating, fishing, and the ability to throw your teammate or an enemy on your back and carry them out of danger or throw them off a building and kill them. It's basically Stardew Valley with guns.
All right, well, while everyone knew this was all just a marketing tool used to justify the deletion of the old map and update a bunch of the game while rebuilding hype for players who have moved away from it over the past couple of months, it was pretty great that they actually took the game down completely for almost 2 days over a holiday, quote unquote, weekend. And that was with no clue as to when or if it would come back, just a blank screen. Now, it would be safe to assume that kids who'd planned on using their days off from school to finally get some extended gaming time, they were absolutely fucking pissed about this, as were their parents, who might have anticipated some free time on a long weekend to finally have sex with each other while the kids were focused on those video games, headphones on, leave me and your mom alone, knock first.
Columbus Day, my favorite day of the year.
To fuck on. Somebody was getting fucked on, so might as well be you.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was all only to find out that Fortnite had been deleted. And the parents found that out through the deafening screeches and tearful faces of their annoying booger-eating children. Weekend ruined.
Now, just based on some loose statistics, it's safe to assume that Fortnite ruined at least a few hundred, maybe even thousands of people's weekends. We know it wasn't a prank, just promotion and hype building, but still, this might have been the most inadvertently prolific prank this year. And it's only made better by the fact that the game only came back online right as all these fucking kids had to go back to school, reducing their weekend Fortnite time from, a weekend full of actual gaming to just staring at a blank fucking screen for hours on end.
It was beautiful.
Waiting. Now, Slasher, Rod Breslaw, summed the whole event up quite nicely, too, with a brutal anti-gamer joke, where he said, millions of gamers staring at a hole awkwardly not knowing what to do sounds about right. And I can say that because I'm a gamer.
As a gamer.
Anyway, if you're a member or a patron, we did a new exclusive podcast this week. We kind of talked some shit on our old employer.
Yeah.
And on Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook.
And we're going to do that more on the next episode of Tech News Day as well.
Yeah.
And we also, we didn't even mean to, but basically talked about the Breaking Bad movie for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
So that was good.
So maybe you watch that first.
Yeah, we have, watch the movie first. We have the exclusive podcast for Patreon supporters and YouTube members. Check posts on either of those if you're a member or a supporter. And also a brand new episode of Weekly Weird News where, hey kids, it's Blippi. Nope, that's not Blippi. Where's my Blippi?
Where is my Blippi?
And of course, a recent episode of News Dump. So check those out. We'll see you soon for Tech News Day.
Bye.
See that now I'm worried that in the future when one day when we're 70 and not doing this show and I gotta go get a job at Walmart greeting or something and then China owns Walmart, they're gonna find this fucking video.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna be able to wave at people anymore. The only social interaction I get during the day as a 75-year-old person.
Well, in that case,
I like it because I get to see people smiling.
In that case, I'd like to clarify my remarks. China number one.
Yeah, China number one. Thank you, China. We love you.